Welcome. Settle into your chair, or perhaps into your bed. Allow your body to sink softly into the surface that holds you. Let your breath slow, as if the rhythm of another time is already brushing against you. Tonight, we are not rushing, not hurrying. Instead, we are drifting backward through layers of years, into a world where machines first began to dominate the human day. This journey takes us into the heart of the Victorian era, the 19th century world of Britain. It was a time when the sky above many cities grew dim with smoke, and the sound of machinery pulsed like a heartbeat through entire neighborhoods. For those who lived then, life was shaped not only by family and community, but by the shrill call of factory whistles and the endless cycles of work. Imagine it. Narrow streets lined with brick houses, their chimneys coughing smoke into an already grey sky. The smell of coal is heavy in the air. Your clothes carry the scent of it, your hair collects it, and even your skin seems touched by its soot. You rise in the early hours of the morning, before the sun itself is strong enough to break through the haze. A thin meal, perhaps just bread and a little tea, steadies you before you step outside. In the distance, the factory waits. Its tall chimneys are landmarks that every worker knows. They stretch upward like blackened towers, signaling where the day will be spent. Inside those walls, great machines churn without pause, gears turning, belts whipping, wheels pressing, iron pistons rising and falling. To enter the factory is to surrender to a rhythm that is not your own. The noise, the vibration, the constant motion, these are what set the pace of life. But this story is not only about hardship. The Victorian world was a paradox. It was the age of empire, invention, and reform. It was the moment when literature gave voice to the voiceless, when philanthropy grew alongside poverty, when the weight of industrial progress pressed against both the rich and the poor. Every detailed sound of the loom, each footstep on a soot-stained street carries us deeper into understanding the texture of daily existence. Our exploration tonight will unfold gently. We will not hurry across the years. Instead, we will walk slowly, pausing to observe, to notice the rhythm of work and the silence of exhaustion, the grand figures of history and the anonymous many who filled the factories in the first part of our journey. We will immerse ourselves in the life of a factory worker. You will walk with them, hear the whistle, feel the air thick with smoke, and sense the weight of repetition. Later, we will shift our gaze toward a man whose writings revealed these struggles to the world. Charles Dickens, and we will allow his story to echo against the backdrop of industrial London. Beyond biography, we will explore the mysteries of the Victorian age, the archaeology of forgotten factories, the rituals of child labor, the hidden corners of working-class culture. Finally, we will ascend into another world altogether, into the parlors and drawing rooms of the wealthy elite. Their days were shaped by luxury, yet they were still bound to the same industrial clock, benefiting from the very system that exhausted the masses. As you listen, let the details move slowly. Let the images of brick and smoke, of leather belts and turning wheels, rise in your imagination like a dream. There is no need to keep every fact in focus. The rhythm of history is gentle, steady, patient. And when your thoughts drift, when your eyes grow heavy, that is as it should be. History here is not a test, nor a lesson to be mastered. It is a background, a lullaby of another age. If you close your eyes and sleep, the factories will keep turning without you. The workers will continue their endless tasks, and the night will carry you forward. So breathe softly. Let the Victorian era open its doors. The smoke, the sound, the silence, The shadows, they are waiting. You wake before the sun has risen, long before the streets of the town grow busy, long before warmth has touched the air. The small room where you lie is cold and damp, its walls stained with moisture, its floorboards uneven, its window almost opaque with soot. A thin blanket covers you, but it has done little through the night. The chill has seeped into your bones, and even now, as your eyes open reluctantly, your body shivers. The bed is narrow, little more than a wooden frame with straw packed tightly beneath rough fabric. Your breath rises in faint clouds above you, and you listen in the stillness of the early hour, for the sound you know will come. The bell dot, it begins faintly, far away, a metallic toll that drifts across the clustered rooftops of the industrial town. It echoes down alleys, between brick walls, and through the thin glass of your small window. It is not a bell that invites or pleases. It does not mark celebration or worship. It commands. Each toll says, "Rise, leave your rest, prepare your body, return to the machines." You do not resist. There is no resisting. The sound is too familiar, too certain, too final. You sit up slowly, your muscles stiff, your eyes still heavy from a night of broken dreams. There is little time. You pull on your clothing, garments worn from endless use, a shirt frayed at the cuffs, trousers with patches at the knees, boots that let in the wet through their cracked soles. The fabric smells faintly of smoke and oil, the permanent sense of your life. There is no time for washing. There is barely time for food. On a small wooden table lies a crust of bread, yesterday's loaf hardened overnight. You break it with your hands, chew without tasting, swallow without thinking. Hunger is dulled, not satisfied, but there is no more. Stepping outside, the morning air greets you, damp and sharp. The narrow street is already filling. Men with hunched shoulders, women with shawls drawn tightly around them, children clutching their mothers' hands, eyes wide and tired, their small feet stumbling to keep pace. All move in the same direction, toward the distant chimneys that rise above the town like blackened spires. Smoke already pours from them, thick and heavy, spreading across the low sky in drifting clouds. The air smells of coal, of ash, of iron. It stings the nose, clings to the throat. The rhythm of footsteps fills the street, wooden clogs striking against cobblestones, boots scuffing through puddles. The sound is steady, almost like a march. Voices are few. There is no laughter, no easy talk, only coughing here and there, deep and rough, echoing from tired lungs. The crowd moves forward as one, pulled toward the factory gates, drawn by necessity more than choice. You are among them, part of the flow, part of the endless line of bodies answering the bell's command. The gates rise ahead, tall and black, iron bars streaked with rust, their tops crowned with sharp points. Beyond them, the looming walls of the factory stretch wide and high, dark bricks stained with smoke. The doors are open, wide enough to swallow the crowd whole. One by one, two by two, the workers pass inside. You step through, and the world shifts. The air is different here, heavier, thicker. The smell of coal becomes sharper, mixed with oil, with hot iron, with damp fibers of cotton and wool. It clings instantly to your skin, settles into your lungs with every breath, and then the sound reaches you fully. The machines, they roar, they grind, they pound. They are alive, though not with flesh. Iron wheels turn, belts whip through the air, gears clash, pistons rise and fall with relentless force. The sound is deafening, endless, pressing against your ears until your own heartbeat seems lost within it. You walk deeper, past lines of benches, past flickering oil lamps that cast shadows across brick walls, past rows of other workers already at their stations. The hall is vast, yet crowded, filled with motion and heat and noise. The air does not move. It hangs, dense and heavy, as though it too has grown tired of the machine's endless rhythm. You take your place at the bench assigned to you. It is the same bench you stood at yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. The machine towers before you, its parts gleaming with oil, its belts trembling with speed. You know its rhythm. You know its dangers. One slip of the hand, one moment of hesitation, and it will not forgive. Your task is simple, yet endless. Feed the thread, guide the fabric, adjust the wheel, again and again. Always the same motion, always the same demand. Hours stretch forward. The machine dictates the pace, not you. Your body bends, your fingers move, your eyes strain in the dim light. Dust floats thick in the air, tiny fibers that settle in your hair, in your eyelashes, in your throat. You cough, but the sound is lost beneath the roar of iron. Sweat gathers, though the morning outside was cold. The heat of the machines fills the hall, mixing with the breath of hundreds of workers. The smell grows sharper, more oppressive, a mixture of labor and smoke and oil that never lifts. The overseer walks between the rows. His steps are quick, his cane tapping the floor, his gaze sharp. He looks for mistakes, for pauses, for hands that do not move quickly enough. You feel his presence even when he is behind you. His shadow falls across your work, and your hands move faster without thought. Sometimes his voice cuts through the raw, harsh and commanding. Sometimes his cane strikes against the bench, a sharp sound that startles. But even when he is silent, the fear of him lingers. You do not lift your eyes. You do not risk distraction. Time loses meaning here. The sun may be rising higher outside, but you do not see it. The morning may be moving on, but you cannot measure it. There are no hours, only the endless cycle of movement and sound. You feel hunger again, but there is no food. You feel thirst, but no water is near. Your back aches, your shoulders burn, your legs grow stiff, but still your hands continue. Thread, fabric, wheel. Thread, fabric, wheel. The rhythm consumes you until even thought itself begins to dull. Around you, others endure the same, faces pale with fatigue, eyes rimmed red from dust, hands roughened by endless contact with iron and thread. Some are young, too young, their bodies small against the machines. Some are old, their movements slower, though still they must keep pace. The machines do not care. The overseer does not care. Only the rhythm matters. The bell that summoned you here has long since gone silent. The next bell will not come for many hours. Until then, there is only the roar of the machines, the rhythm of your hands, the weight of the endless morning. You are a part of it now. You, like everyone else, bend beneath the command of iron and steam. The day has barely begun, yet already it feels endless. The morning stretches forward, unbroken, unchanging, a tide of sound and motion that swallows you whole. The morning stretches on, and the machinery continues its endless, steady song. You stand at your station, your back straight as much as your body will allow, hands moving slowly, deliberately, but without pause. The thread slips through your fingers with the familiarity of countless repetitions. guided by movements so ingrained that your body performs them almost unconsciously. The shuttle rises and falls, the wheel turns, the belt spins, all in perfect, hypnotic rhythm. Your eyes trace the subtle glimmer of the fibers, noting the tension in the belts, the faint hum of iron wheels turning. Each motion is deliberate, precise, yet soft, almost meditative in its repetition, a rhythm that seems to echo the heartbeat within your chest. Around you, the factory breathes. Steam rises in curling wisps from countless vents, coiling into the high ceilings before dissipating into the shadows. The warmth grows, pressing gently against your skin, a subtle weight mingling with the early stiffness in your joints. Sweat gathers along your hairline and trickles slowly down the curve of your spine, settling on the small of your back. The air is thick with cotton fibers and smoke, yet you adapt. Your lungs gradually accommodate the weight of it, filling and emptying with measured breaths, syncing with the unyielding rhythm of the machines. Step by step, motion by motion, the repetition carries you further into the morning, deeper into a quiet, steady focus. The other workers move with similar precision. Small hands of children, too young for their burdens, move quickly and deftly. Older, more experienced workers move more slowly, but each action is deliberate, purposeful. Eyes flicker briefly between stations and nod here, a subtle gesture there, but words are rare. There is no conversation beyond a soft murmur, almost swallowed by the ceaseless clamor of the machinery. The room hums with collective effort, each noise a note in the relentless symphony of labor. The clatter of wooden clogs on stone floors, the click of shuttles, the hiss of steam escaping from worn valves, the soft scrape of belts sliding across pulleys. Each sound merges into the next, forming a rhythm so constant that it begins to quiet your own thoughts, lulling you into a calm awareness. Sometimes a spool tangles or a thread snaps, and your hands react instinctively. You do not hesitate. You adjust the tension, replace the broken piece, and return the shuttle to its path. These small disturbances are the only variations in the otherwise continuous rhythm of your labor. During these moments, you notice more acutely the smell of oil, the faint tang of iron, the subtle dust of cotton fibers that cling to skin and clothing. You inhale slowly, letting the smells anchor you to the moment, anchoring your focus to the repeated, measured tasks. The overseer moves between the rows with quiet authority. His presence alone is enough to shape the pace, to keep movements precise and measured. His cane taps occasionally against the floor, a reminder of his attention, though his voice is seldom raised. Each glance of his eyes across the rows, each subtle gesture carries weight. You feel it pressing gently on your back, guiding your hands, steadying your movements. Even under scrutiny, there is a strange calm, a predictability in the cycles of work. You move with attention, yet your mind drifts softly within the repetition, finding comfort in the constancy. Outside, the sun climbs higher, though its light struggles to penetrate the dusty panes of the factory windows. Faint shafts of sunlight illuminate corners of the hall, revealing clouds of fibers drifting lazily in the warm, still air. Through these narrow glimpses, you glimpse movement beyond carts rolling down cobbled streets, horses turning their heads, the shadowy shapes of people passing between buildings. Inside, however, the world is defined by machines, benches, spools, and hands moving in careful coordination. Each small movement matters, yet none draws attention beyond its place in the unbroken rhythm. You pause briefly, a natural part of the cycle. Your back arches slightly as you stretch, Your hands flex gently, and your eyes linger on the fabric before you. Its texture is familiar, almost soothing in its constancy. Cotton fibers slip smoothly through your fingers, pliant yet resistant. The colors are muted, shades of gray and cream. Yet you notice subtle shifts in the weave, small variations that catch the dim light of the oil lamps. Each fold and twist is familiar, almost comforting in its predictability. You inhale deeply, taking in the mingled sense of fiber, smoke, and oil, and exhale, allowing the rhythm of labor to seep into your mind. Time passes in a slow, almost liquid fashion. Your body learns to anticipate every turn of the wheel, every rise and fall of the shuttle, every subtle tension in the belts. It becomes a form of meditation, a quiet, immersive awareness of muscle, motion, and sound. You are present, yet your mind drifts, caught between awareness and automatic repetition. The rhythm, the scent, the hum of the factory all combine to create a soft, persistent pulse that carries you forward, guiding each movement, steadying each breath. Small mishaps occasionally break the rhythm. A shuttle jams, a thread tangles, a belt slips. Yet these moments are absorbed without panic. Hands move instinctively, correcting errors, restoring flow. The world of the factory remains steady and unbroken, a vast interconnected system in which every micro-movement matters. You are a part of it, intertwined with machine and worker alike, carried forward by a constant, gentle insistence. The morning, though arduous, has its own pattern. And within that pattern, there is a calm, almost lullaby-like quality. The heat grows gradually, thickening the air, sticking gently to your skin. You wipe a sleeve across your brow, and though your back aches and your muscles protest, your hands do not stop. Motion continues. Motion again. Hands again. Repetition again. The sounds, the warmth, the pressure all merge into a soft, constant presence that fills your senses and guides your thoughts into a calm, steady rhythm. You breathe slowly, letting the sensations anchor you in place, letting the labor itself become a quiet meditation. Mid-morning continues in this slow, measured way. Light, sound, touch, motion, and smell combine into a pattern as predictable as the beating of a heart. Threads weave, wheels turn, belts slide, hands move in harmony. Small motions, repeated endlessly, form a steady cadence that carries you through the hours. Even as fatigue grows, your body continues its work. Muscles learning the subtleties of endurance, of repetition, of small, precise action. The monotony, far from harsh, begins to settle into a comforting rhythm. One that lulls the mind while keeping the hands moving, the eyes attentive, the heart steady. The late morning drifts steadily through the vast factory hall, each hour blending softly into the next, carrying with it the quiet rhythm of countless motions repeated over and over. You stand at your station, your back brushing the worn edge of the wooden bench, hands moving with precise, practiced care. Each gesture, each tug of thread, each turn of a wheel is automatic yet deliberate, ingrained through endless repetition. Your fingers glide along the fibers with gentle familiarity, guiding the shuttle up and down, over and under, weaving the fabric in a pattern that has been repeated hundreds, thousands of times before. The movements continue without pause, a steady, hypnotic rhythm, grounding you in the labor of the moment. Steam rises in lazy, curling tendrils from the machines, winding upward toward the high, shadowed ceilings. and dissolves slowly into the warm, thick air. Beams of sunlight filter through the soot-streaked windows, painting the suspended dust motes in soft, golden light. These tiny particles float and spin, drifting in endless, delicate arcs, catching your eye for a moment before your attention returns to the threads slipping between your fingers. The mixture of warm cotton, faint oil, and a metallic temps of iron permeates the space, clinging lightly to your skin and clothing, marking each inhalation with the scent of labor and persistence. The smells are constant, subtle companions, a tactile anchor to the passing hours. Around you, fellow workers move with similar, measured precision. Children with small, deft hands manipulate spools and threads with careful attention, their eyes both alert and weary, carrying the quiet fatigue of countless mornings in this same routine. Older workers move more slowly, their movements deliberate, the result of years of repeated practice, yet every motion remains purposeful, precise, part of the enduring rhythm of production. Occasionally, eyes meet briefly, flicker of acknowledgement. A shared understanding without words, but conversation is rare. Words are swallowed by the low hum of the machinery, the hiss of escaping steam, the click of the shuttle, the soft grinding of belts. The collective sound forms a subtle, continuous symphony, a quiet, soothing accompaniment to your focused attention, blending seamlessly into the background of the hall. Your breath settles into a steady cadence, inhaling the warm, fiber-filled air, exhaling slowly, aligning your rhythm with the pulses of the machines. The texture of thread slipping between your fingers, the gentle resistance of fibers, the soft friction against palms and fingertips, all these sensations become magnified in their repetition, creating a meditative awareness of each small motion. Motion continues, again and again, and the continuity of labor becomes almost hypnotic, carrying you through the hours in gentle, unbroken sequences. Minor disruptions appear now and then, a tangled spool, a fraying thread, a hesitating shuttle, and your hands respond instinctively. You correct, adjust, and return the system to its seamless flow, fingers guided by memory and experience. Around you, other workers respond in the same subtle manner, tiny adjustments flowing together into a larger pattern of coordinated endurance. These small challenges reinforce your attention, your mindfulness, and the quiet meditation inherent in repetition. The motions absorb the minor disturbances, integrating them back into the rhythm, teaching patience, awareness, and gentle persistence. The overseer walks among the rows, his cane tapping softly against the stone floor. His presence is quiet but undeniable, a soft authority woven into the rhythm of the hall. Eyes scan the stations, noting motions without raising a voice. You adjust subtly, aware of observation, yet your hands remain steady, motions familiar and unbroken. The overseer's silent, watchful presence blends into the machinery's pulse, into the soft rhythm of labor, becoming part of the meditative cadence that carries each worker forward. Light shifts gradually. Sunbeams touch the edges of benches, illuminating spools, dust motes, and the fine weave of fibers under your careful hands. You notice the slow, lazy spiral of dust in a patch of sunlight, the subtle shimmer of oil on the machines, the faint gleam of metal wheels turning in quiet, constant motion. Each small observation is fleeting yet grounding, a gentle reminder of the ongoing continuity. The repeating cycles that define the factory's environment. Hands move, wheels turn, threads pass through fingers. Belts glider, persistent. unbroken pattern of labor that soothes the mind even as it demands attention. Heat builds in the late morning, pressing lightly against the skin, a constant companion. Sweat beads and trickles slowly down your neck and back. Muscles tighten and relax in response to the repetition. Small aches rising and fading with the gentle, continuous motion of your labor. Motion, thread, shuttle, wheel, belt again, and again becomes a rhythmic chant of endurance. The repeated cadence forming a gentle, quiet meditation. Every inhalation, every exhalation synchronizes with this soft, unbroken pulse. Time loses its conventional meaning. The mid-morning hours fold gently into themselves, measured only by the subtle shifts in light, the changes in the hum of the machines, and the endless, repeated gestures of labor. The tug of thread, the rotation of spools, the glide of shuttles all merge into a single, continuous rhythm, immersive and absorbing. The monotony is paradoxically soothing. It allows the mind to drift gently, free to wander while the body continues in precise, steady repetition. Motion again, thread again, wheels again, belts again. Repetition itself becomes a lullaby. By now, the rhythm has a hypnotic, calming effect. The patterns of labor, the gentle warmth, the low hum, and the faint scent of fibers, oil, and iron converge into a quiet, persistent pulse. Hands, eyes, and mind align in a slow, flowing harmony. The minor disturbances, absorbed without tension, the small corrections, reinforcing awareness and focus. Motion and repetition form an intricate, unbroken melody of endurance. The factory, relentless in its demands, becomes a strange but comforting presence, its monotonous consistency grounding the workers in the subtle meditation of work. As the late morning stretches onward, the unbroken rhythm continues. Motion and repetition persist. You observe the subtle shimmer of sunlight on iron, the faint spiral of dust, the soft hiss of steam. Each sensation, repeated and experienced in the continuity of labor, lulls the mind into a gentle, calm awareness. Hands, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, forming a soothing pulse of presence, endurance, and quiet reflection. The factory's late morning flows onward, deliberately, slowly, a meditative immersion in sound, texture, motion, an endurance, a hypnotic rhythm that carries the mind and body toward gentle calm, preparing for the eventual rest that will follow the long, measured day. The story of Richard Arkwright begins quietly in the small market town of Preston, in the heart of England in 1732. Imagine the narrow, cobbled streets, the faint smell of smoke from chimneys, the sound of horses' hooves on uneven stone, and the quiet chatter of townsfolk going about their early morning routines. As a child, Richard was neither wealthy nor particularly distinguished. He was, however, attentive and curious, noticing the simple mechanisms of daily life, the way water flowed from a stream, the turning of a mill wheel, the slow rhythm of craft and labor in workshops that dotted the surrounding towns. Even in these humble beginnings, he began to absorb the subtleties of movement, motion, and repetition, laying the foundation for a lifetime of invention. As you picture young Richard, think of him carefully handling simple tools, observing patterns, testing and retesting minor mechanisms in his small, dimly lit workshop. The faint scent of wood shavings, oils, and the occasional tense of iron fills the air, embedding itself into his memory. Motion, observation, adjustment, He practices these quietly, day after day, developing a steady, methodical approach that will define his career. There is a rhythm to his early labor, a gentle consistency that mirrors the rhythm of the human day, rising with the sun, performing tasks with quiet diligence, observing outcomes, adjusting and repeating by his adolescence. Richard had become an apprentice to a local barber and wig maker, a role that demanded patience, precision, and attention to detail. Imagine him in a narrow, sunlit room, the soft rustle of powdered wigs, the faint scent of pomade and dust, the careful snip of scissors echoing off stone walls. He learns to measure, cut, and style with exactness, developing not only a sense of craft, but also a keen observational eye. These formative experiences, though seemingly ordinary, nurture the meticulous attention to detail and inventive curiosity that would later define his mechanical achievements. The mid-18th century was a period of subtle but profound change. Small workshops gave way to larger, more organized spaces, and the seeds of industrial transformation began to take root. Richard Arkwright, now a young man, turned his attention toward textile production. He observed the manual spinning methods used in cottages across the countryside, methods that were slow, labor-intensive, and inconsistent. With his meticulous mind and patient persistence, he began to envision a system that could multiply the output of human labor, a system that would harness the steady, repeating motion of machines to create a continuous, reliable production of thread. Picture him in a small, shadowed workshop, sketching diagrams, testing spindles, adjusting tension, measuring rotation. His attention to detail is relentless, each small test building upon the last, every observation noted carefully. You can almost hear the gentle click of the spindles, the faint hum of the prototype wheel turning, the soft scratching of chalk on wood as he marks measurements. Each experiment is an exercise in patience, repetition, and quiet observation. Arkwright persists, unhurried, absorbing every subtle nuance of motion, friction, and speed, until he begins to assemble the first mechanized spinning frame. When he unveils the water frame, the invention slowly transforms the nature of labor. Imagine the large, sunlit room in which his early machine stands, the sound of spinning wheels turning in synchronized harmony, the faint hiss of oiled gears, the scent of cotton fibers filling the air. Each thread produced is consistent, precise, and uniform. Workers, sometimes children, sometimes adults, move alongside the machines, hands adjusting tension, guiding fibers, monitoring the constant repeating motion. The environment hums with rhythm, each machine a pulse in a larger, industrial heartbeat. Motion again, thread again, wheels again, belts again. The factory becomes a living organism, and within it, the quiet, methodical work continues for hours, unbroken, almost meditative. Arkwright's vision extends beyond the mechanics. He observes, adjusts, and organizes. He creates systems for labor management, schedules, and spatial arrangements that maximize efficiency while maintaining the gentle, steady rhythm necessary for sustained work. Each worker's motion becomes part of a larger pattern, each spool, shuttle, and wheel synchronized to form a continuous flow of production. The sound of the machinery, though constant, is soothing in its predictability, offering a rhythmic backdrop to the long hours of labor. You can imagine walking through such a hall, feeling the warmth, hearing the uniform hum, sensing the steady pulse of industry, and noticing how the repetition, though demanding, carries with it a strange comfort. By the late 1760s and early 1770s, Arkwright's factories proliferate along rivers, harnessing water power to drive ever larger machines. Workers enter these halls each morning, greeted by the same steady cadence, the same gentle pulse of mechanical motion. Children's hands move nimbly over threads. Older hands adjust tension with quiet precision. Supervisors, walking silently among the rows, maintain order without loud instruction. The factory floor becomes a carefully choreographed dance of human and machine, a subtle interplay of repetition, attention, and endurance. Each day, each hour, is measured not just by clocks, but by the rhythm of shuttles, the spin of wheels, the movement of threads guided by careful hands. Arkwright himself oversees, not as a dictator, but as a meticulous observer. He notices the small patterns of fatigue, the shifts in light, the subtleties of motion, making adjustments that maintain harmony and efficiency. The life of Richard Arkwright, once a boy experimenting with simple mechanisms, becomes intertwined with the rhythms of thousands of workers, the pulse of machinery, and the slow, deliberate spread of industrial innovation across the countryside. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, each repetition forming the basis for the industrial age. Even as the factory flourishes, the quiet persistence of labor remains central. The repetitive tasks, the steady hum of machinery, the careful observation of tension and speed, all create an environment that, while demanding, fosters a subtle, meditative engagement with the world of work. Arkwright's legacy is not merely in invention, but in the establishment of a system where motion, repetition, and rhythm become the framework of daily life for thousands of workers, embedding the pulse of the Industrial Revolution into the very fabric of their existence. The life of Richard Arkwright, from a curious child in a small town to the creator of a mechanized system that reshaped textile production, demonstrates the quiet power of observation, persistence, and deliberate rhythmic effort. Each machine, each spool, each shuttle, and each hand is part of a broader harmony, a continuous cycle of motion that carries forward, hour by hour, day by day, building the foundations of an era. The late morning of his factories, with its gentle hum, its steady pulse, its subtle but persistent rhythm, mirrors the life of the man himself, attentive, deliberate, patient, and enduring. As the morning sun climbs higher, Arkwright's vision unfolds across the English countryside in the form of new, sprawling factory buildings, each one filled with the gentle, unceasing rhythm of machinery and human labor. Picture the factories from a distance, long, rectangular halls of brick and timber, roofs punctuated by tall chimneys that release the faint wisps of steam and smoke into the sky. The windows are high and narrow, allowing streams of sunlight to pierce the interior spaces, illuminating the soft dust that drifts lazily through the air, catching on fibers, machinery, and the hands of workers alike. Outside, rivers bend gently, their flowing waters channeled to power wheels that, in turn, set countless spindles and gears into motion, carrying the rhythm of production throughout the factory floor. Inside these halls, the workers follow the steady, deliberate choreography of Arkwright's system. Children with nimble fingers tend to the finer threads, guiding them carefully through the spinning frames, adjusting tension with precise, gentle movements. Their eyes, bright with focus, track each motion, absorbing the quiet insistence of repetition. Adults, both men and women, move with practiced attention, adjusting spools, monitoring belts, and attending to the rotation of wheels. Each action timed to the subtle cadence of the machinery. The air is thick with warmth, a mixture of steam, the faint scent of oil, and the earthy smell of cotton fibers, creating a tangible atmosphere of industrious persistence. You can feel the rhythm of the factory as you imagine walking along the long rows of spinning frames. Each shuttle passes beneath your fingers, threads sliding smoothly between your grasp, wheels turning in synchronized harmony. The low hum of the machines fills the space, punctuated by the occasional hiss of steam or the soft click of a spindle completing its rotation. Motion continues, again and again, creating a steady pulse that pervades both the body and mind. Your attention drifts subtly, carried along by the repetition, yet remains anchored in the small, tactile details, the resistance of a spool, the smooth glide of fibers, the gentle vibration of a belt beneath your fingertips. Though often not physically present on the floor, maintains a watchful influence over each factory. He plans the arrangement of machinery with meticulous care, ensuring that each row of spindles, each belt, each wheel contributes to the smooth, continuous flow of production. Supervisors, moving quietly among the workers, maintain order without harsh instruction, their presence a reminder of both oversight and the gentle discipline necessary to sustain such precise, unbroken motion. The factory, in essence, becomes a carefully choreographed environment in which each worker, each machine, and each repeated gesture contributes to a seamless, hypnotic rhythm. Life inside the factories is relentless, yet there is a quiet, almost meditative quality to the day. The repetition itself fosters a gentle awareness, a rhythm of existence that carries the mind into a calm focus. The children, despite the early hours and long days, develop their own subtle synchronization with the motion of the machines, their small hands moving deftly, guided by the unspoken language of patterns and cycles. Adults, seasoned by months and years of labor, move in harmony with the worry of gears and the spinning of wheels, their bodies adapting to the gentle insistence of continuity. Motion again, thread again, wheels again, belts again. Each cycle reinforces the quiet, unbroken cadence that defines the factory's atmosphere. As the hours progress, small details shape the rhythm of the day. The occasional minor malfunctioner, caught thread, a slipping belt requires subtle adjustment, a gentle, deliberate intervention that restores harmony without breaking the flow. You notice the faint shimmer of oil on moving parts, the warm sheen of polished wood on spindles, the soft glint of sunlight reflecting off metal wheels. These details, though small, anchor the mind in the present, reinforcing a sense of calm observation, patience, and steady attention. Each corrective action becomes part of the ongoing meditation, each motion a gentle reinforcement of awareness and endurance. The social dynamics within the factory are understated yet significant. Supervisors and senior workers move quietly among the ranks, offering guidance without urgency, their movements measured and deliberate. Children observe these subtle cues, learning not only the technical skills required for spinning, but also the soft, almost imperceptible patterns of behavior that govern the factory's environment. Cooperation, attentiveness, and awareness of rhythm are instilled through silent observation as much as through instruction. The factory's culture, embedded in the cadence of labor, becomes as much a part of daily life as the machines themselves. Arkwright. Factories also introduce the first glimpses of industrial scheduling. Breaks are brief, punctuating the unbroken flow of labor, marked by the faint clatter of benches, the soft shuffle of feet, the whisper of movement as workers rise and return to their stations. Meals are taken quietly in small intervals, with minimal conversation, the body sustained while the rhythm of labor continues uninterrupted. The day unfolds in slow, deliberate sequences, each hour measured by the movement of threads, the rotation of wheels, and the subtle, persistent pulse of machinery. You can imagine the faint warmth on your skin as the mid-morning shifts into early afternoon. The air grows heavier, thickened by steam and human presence, yet the steady rhythm carries on. Motion continues, again and again, hands adjusting, threads sliding, belts spinning, wheels turning. The repetition, though demanding, carries a quiet reassurance. The factory's pulse becomes familiar, almost comforting, as the mind drifts gently with the cadence of labor. The children, the adults, the supervisors, and the machines themselves form a continuous pattern, each element synchronized in a delicate balance of endurance and observation. By the late morning and early afternoon, the unbroken pattern of labor has established a meditative environment. The continuous hum, the soft mechanical rhythm, and the careful choreography of hands and spools form a gentle backdrop to the mental space of the workers. Each repetitive motion, each subtle adjustment, reinforces the awareness of process, order, and continuity. Even as fatigue grows, the gentle insistence of repetition, the measured pace, and the immersive rhythm of the machines create a subtle sense of calm, a lulling immersion into the methodical nature of industrial labor. Richard Arkwright's expansion of his factories, from small workshops to large, water-powered halls, illustrates the quiet, persistent transformation of daily life in the emerging industrial era. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, hour after hour, day after day, the repetition that defines the factory floor mirrors the persistence, attention, and patient ingenuity of Arkwright himself. The rhythms of labor, though unceasing, foster a subtle meditation, a slow awareness of process, pattern, and continuity, shaping the lives of thousands in the gentle pulse of industrial change. As the mid-afternoon sun settles into the high windows of the factories, its warm light filters through the glass panes, illuminating rows upon rows of machinery, each wheel, spindle, and belt turning in a steady, rhythmic motion. The hum of activity fills the air with a consistent, gentle sound, punctuated only by the soft hiss of steam or the faint click of a shuttle completing its cycle. You walk slowly down the long aisles between machines, feeling the vibrations through the wooden floorboards beneath your feet, sensing the quiet pulse of labor that moves through the hall. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, each element contributing to the continuous rhythm that defines the daily life of the factory. In this environment, children and adults alike have become part of an intricate system of repetition. Tiny fingers guide threads with precision. Seasoned hands adjust the spinning frames with familiarity, and supervisors move with deliberate, measured steps, maintaining order without raising their voices. Every gesture, no matter how small, contributes to the collective pattern of motion. The air is thick with the scent of cotton, faint oil, and the subtle temps of iron. Sunlight catches on dust motes, sending them slowly spiraling through the air. And you notice these small details as your gaze drifts quietly across the floor, anchoring your mind in the gentle continuity of observation. Arkwright's innovations had transformed not only the machinery of production, but also the social dynamics within these factories. Families, once dispersed across small cottages and workshops, now often lived and worked in proximity to the large halls of spinning frames. The daily rhythms of their lives became intertwined with the factory's unbroken cadence. Each household's schedule shaped subtly by the rising and setting of the sun, the whistle or bell marking shifts, and the predictable pulse of machinery. You can imagine a mother guiding her children toward their stations in the soft morning light, helping a small hand steady the thread, and then returning to her own work. Each action woven seamlessly into the broader tapestry of labor. The social impact extended beyond the immediate factory walls. Entire communities began to organize around the presence of these large industrial spaces. Inns and shops accommodated workers and travelers. Markets adjusted to the rhythms of the laboring population, and local economies shifted quietly, almost imperceptibly, to the measured cadence of production. The soundscape of these towns changed as well. The distant hum of water wheels, the faint clatter of machinery from across the river, the gentle rhythm of wheels turning and belts sliding in harmony with the slow march of daily life. The industrial pulse became a background for every other action, a subtle constant that permeated both work and rest within the factories themselves. Arkwright's attention to detail extended to social management. He introduced structured schedules, divided work into specific tasks, and ensured that each worker's motion contributed efficiently to the overall rhythm. Breaks were brief but methodically timed, allowing workers moments to rest and refresh without disrupting the continuity of the day. Meals were simple, consumed quietly, with minimal conversation, reinforcing the gentle order of the environment. Observation and adjustment were continuous, subtle yet persistent, maintaining harmony between human effort and mechanical motion. The children, often starting as young as 7 or 8, developed their own internal sense of rhythm and pattern. Their small hands moved deftly over the threads, guiding them along the shuttles, adjusting tension and observing the consistent movement of the wheels. Over time, this repetition instilled a quiet discipline, an intuitive understanding of motion and balance, and a subtle endurance that extended throughout the long hours of the factory day. Adults, too, adapted to the rhythm, their bodies aligning with the continuous cadence of spindles and belts, their minds gradually attuning to the meditative pulse of the industrial environment. Even minor disruptions, the tangling of a thread, a belt slipping slightly, or a wheel hesitating, were absorbed into the flow, corrected gently, and integrated back into the pattern without breaking the overall rhythm. You can imagine the workers leaning just slightly, hands adjusting, bodies shifting in synchrony with the quiet demands of the machinery. Each motion both corrective and rhythmic, contributing to the seamless continuity of the day. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again. A pattern both demanding and oddly comforting, carrying the mind into a gentle, focused awareness. The factories also began to subtly shape the broader structure of society, with entire families dependent on industrial employment. The daily life of towns transformed. Streets and homes reflected the quiet but persistent pulse of work. Children leaving early in the soft morning light. Adults navigating a gentle choreography of commuting and labor, and local businesses adjusting to the steady flow of human activity. Observing these patterns, you notice the gradual, almost imperceptible shifts, the way markets open and close with the factory bells, the quiet echo of wheels in alleyways, the distant shimmer of river currents that drive the water wheels powering machines. Each element of life, large and small, subtly aligns with the mechanical and social rhythm established by Arkwright's innovations. By mid-afternoon, the factories operate in full harmony. The hum of spindles, the glide of threads, the rotation of wheels, and the steady guidance of workers converge into a gentle, unbroken pulse. The repetition, though intense, carries a calming effect. The mind adjusts to the predictability. The body synchronizes with the steady cadence, and a meditative awareness arises naturally from sustained, mindful observation. Small gestures of finger adjusting tension, a hand steadying a shuttle become part of a collective choreography that is as soothing as it is industrious. Arkwright's influence extends subtly yet profoundly into the social and industrial consciousness. The quiet persistence of repetition, the gentle insistence on precision, and the slow, deliberate unfolding of daily work create not only mechanical efficiency but also a rhythm that shapes thought, perception, and endurance. The factory becomes a space where motion and observation, labor and awareness integrate seamlessly. You can feel the soft, continuous pulse of life within the walls, the harmony of thousands of small motions blending into a singular, hypnotic flow, a meditation on productivity, patience, and endurance. Even as fatigue accumulates, the gentle insistence of repetition continues to soothe the mind. The warm light, the steady hum of machines, the faint scent of fibers, oil, and iron, all combine with the soft rhythm of hands and wheels to create a calm, immersive environment. Each motion is deliberate yet automatic, each cycle a soft reinforcement of attention and presence. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, forms a steady, lulling pulse that carries both body and mind toward quiet awareness, shaping the experience of the factory in subtle, enduring ways. In these mid-afternoon hours, the factories of Richard Arkwright are more than centers of production. They are microcosms of disciplined rhythm and social orchestration. The hum of machinery, the measured gestures of workers, the quiet observation of supervisors, the alignment of families and communities, these elements coalesce into a coherent, gentle flow of existence. Motion continues, thread continues, wheels continue, belts continue, and the quiet pulse of labor remains unbroken, a persistent, calming rhythm that embodies both the industriousness and the subtle meditation inherent in life within Arkwright's factories. As the late afternoon settles over the industrial towns of Victorian England, the long shadows cast by brick chimneys stretch across narrow streets, quietly merging with the muted sounds of distant machinery. Picture the soft, golden light filtering through soot-streaked windows into a factory hall, illuminating the dust motes that drift lazily in the air, each particle catching the light for a fleeting moment before drifting again. The hum of the spinning frames and the gentle whir of wheels blend into a continuous, soothing rhythm, a backdrop to the quiet, often unnoticed stories of the children who worked within these walls. Children, some no older than 7 or 8, navigate this complex environment with remarkable adaptability. Tiny hands guide delicate threads through spinning frames, adjusting tension with careful precision, while their eyes, wide with focus, follow the subtle arcs of shuttle movement and the rotation of wheels. Their movements are not hurried. They are deliberate, measured by a rhythm that seems almost intrinsic to the mechanical pulse of the factory. Every motion, repeated countless times, becomes part of a gentle meditation, each hand adjustment echoing the continuous, hypnotic flow of labor around them. Outside the factory, the streets and alleys carry whispers of these children's lives, the quiet stories that escape the attention of adults preoccupied with their own tasks. You can imagine the soft patter of small feet along cobblestones, the muted murmur of exchanged words between friends, the gentle rush of river water powering distant mills. Each sound blends with the low, constant pulse of industry, forming a tapestry of daily life that is at once subtle and immersive. Even the smallest details, the way sunlight glances off a child's hair, the soft rustle of cotton clothing, the faint warmth of a midday sun on a brick wall contribute to the sensory landscape of their existence. Inside the factory, supervisors move quietly along the rows of machinery, their eyes tracking the precise movements of young workers. The oversight is gentle but deliberate. Each motion is noted, corrected with minimal interruption, and reintegrated into the flow of labor. The children, attuned to this rhythm, adjust naturally, their bodies and minds gradually syncing with the continuous cadence of spindles, belts, and wheels. Each small correction, each measured gesture, reinforces the ongoing pattern, teaching patience, awareness, and subtle endurance. Motion, thread, wheels, belts again and again. The repetition forming a quiet, immersive discipline that carries the mind into a calm, focused state. The culture surrounding these young workers extends beyond the immediate factory walls. Families often rely on multiple children contributing to the household income, creating intricate social dynamics that intertwine with the rhythm of labor. You might picture a quiet evening, the soft glow of a lamp illuminating a modest home, children carefully tending small chores, while their minds carry the accumulated awareness of repetitive work. Conversations are subdued, often practical, emphasizing efficiency and attentiveness, blending seamlessly with the lingering pulse of industrial life. Even in moments of rest, the patterns of labor echo softly, shaping perception, awareness, and the subtle coordination that the day demanded. Education, when it occurs, is interwoven with labor, often taking place in brief, carefully timed intervals. Teachers or supervisors provide instruction in a quiet, measured manner, guiding young minds without disturbing the broader flow of the day. Lessons are slow, deliberate, and repetitive, reinforcing the gentle rhythm of practice and memorization that mirrors the patterns of work. A child's attention shifts seamlessly between the hum of machinery and the soft cadence of spoken instruction, learning to synchronize focus with the unbroken pulse of the environment. Motion, thought, learning each integrates naturally into the ongoing rhythm of life. Meals and breaks are moments of subtle relief. Imagine a small group gathered at a long, narrow bench, consuming simple bread, cheese, and water. The conversation is minimal, voices low, gestures measured. Even in these intervals, the children's awareness remains gently attuned to the larger rhythm of the factory, the soft vibration of machinery, the faint hiss of steam, the distant clatter of spindles. The environment encourages a quiet, reflective engagement, a mindfulness that extends beyond labor into the very consciousness of daily experience. Each bite, each sip is synchronized with the flow of time, each pause a gentle reinforcement of patience, endurance, and awareness as evening approaches. The factory floor gradually quiets, wheels slow, belts decelerate, and the steady hum diminishes into the soft sigh of residual motion. Children gather their belongings, small satchels or baskets, and begin the gentle transition from work to the streets of their towns. The cobblestones echo faintly under careful steps, and the soft glimmer of the setting sun reflects on soot-darkened buildings. The journey home is measured and deliberate, each step synchronized with the fading rhythm of the day, reinforcing both endurance and meaningful. Beyond the observable, the hidden lives of these children extend into quiet communities, small clusters of interactions, friendships, and unspoken understandings. You might picture two children sharing a secret glance while passing spools of thread, or quietly exchanging a word about the rotation of a wheel or the adjustment of a shuttle. These small, subtle interactions carry a gentle weight, nurturing social awareness, empathy, and quiet resilience. Even as labor dominates much of their day, these moments of shared experience create an invisible thread of human connection, reinforcing the meditative continuity that pervades their existence. The rhythmic pulse of machinery, the measured gestures of young hands, and the persistent flow of threads create a hypnotic, soothing environment. Each child, through repetition and observation, develops a profound awareness of movement, sequence, and timing. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, forms a gentle, unbroken pulse that carries the mind into calm reflection. The factory, in its relentless rhythm, paradoxically offers a space of meditative engagement, slow, deliberate immersion into process, endurance, and quiet awareness. Even the smallest details matter. The soft brush of cotton fibers against fingertips, the faint warmth of sunlight on a back, the gentle vibration of a spinning wheel contribute to an immersive sensory environment. Each repeated motion reinforces both attention and calm, guiding the mind towards subtle focus and gentle reflection. The continuity of labor, the steady rhythm of machinery, and the soft interplay of light and dust create a delicate, soothing balance, allowing the hidden lives of Victorian factory children to unfold in quiet, reflective harmony with the industrial pulse around them. By the end of the day, as shadows lengthen and the final wheels slow, the children leave their stations, carrying with them the quiet discipline of repeated motion, the meditative awareness of process, and the gentle endurance cultivated through hours of subtle, immersive labor. Motion, thread, wheels, belts again and again, the pattern persists, embedding itself softly into memory and consciousness, forming a foundation of awareness, resilience, and gentle, rhythmic immersion in the world around them. As evening approaches in the industrial towns of Victorian England, the air grows softer and cooler, carrying with it the faint, lingering sense of coal smoke, wet earth, and the subtle temps of the river that winds its way beside the factories. Picture narrow cobblestone streets winding between tall, soot-darkened buildings, the faint echo of footsteps blending with distant, gentle clatters from machinery that continues its unceasing hum deep within the factories. The town, like the factories themselves, seems alive with quiet rhythms and rituals, patterns of human motion and observation that unfold slowly, unnoticed by the hurried gaze of outsiders. These towns developed their own unique cultures, shaped by the pervasive presence of industry. Imagine the marketplace, illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns as evening settles in. Merchants arrange produce and goods with deliberate care, anticipating the arrival of families whose daily schedules are carefully synchronized with the rise and fall of factory bells. The air is filled with faint murmurs, soft footsteps, the rustle of fabric, and the occasional distant laughter of children returning from their work. Each sound blends into the gentle rhythm of the town, a cadence as subtle and persistent as the spinning frames deep within the factory walls. Life for factory families was organized around a delicate, almost ritualistic structure. Mornings were defined by precise preparation. Children and adults moving quietly, gathering tools, clothing, and meals for the day ahead. The bell marking the start of a shift served as a subtle cue, signaling the synchronized flow of bodies and motions toward the factory doors. Each step along the cobblestone streets, each careful adjustment of clothing or tools, reinforced a pattern of readiness, a measured rhythm that guided both action and awareness. Motion, preparation, movement again and again, forming the pulse of daily life. Evenings, in contrast, offered moments of gentle reflection and restorative calm. Families gathered in modest homes or small communal spaces, where the glow of lamps or candlelight illuminated worn furniture, soft textiles, and simple household implements. Meals were consumed quietly, often consisting of bread, cheese, or a simple stew. Conversation, if it occurred, was subdued, focused on practical matters or gentle storytelling. Imagine a mother quietly showing a child how to mend a small tear in fabric, or a father adjusting a spindle or weaving tool for the next day's work. These small, deliberate acts were both necessary and soothing, reinforcing a continuity between labor and domestic life, industry and home. Even the youngest children participated in subtle forms of cultural engagement. They learned not only to handle spindles or thread, but also to recognize the rhythm of the town, the cycles of light and shadow, the ebb and flow of social interaction. You can picture them leaning slightly, adjusting their grip, observing their elders, listening to the soft pulse of ongoing tasks, and absorbing a quiet, immersive awareness of patterns, repetition, and timing. Motion, observation, subtle adjustment, each element harmonizing with the broader flow of daily existence. The towns themselves had their own unspoken rituals. Streets emptied and filled according to the gentle cadence of work hours. The river carried water to power the distant mills, its currents steady and predictable. Community spaces, such as small chapels or open courtyards, hosted brief moments of rest, reflection, or quiet social exchange. Faint laughter and murmured conversation echoed softly, harmonizing with the ambient hum of industry and the rustling of evening breezes. Each of these elements contributed to a subtle, pervasive rhythm, shaping consciousness and behavior with quiet insistence. Markets, inns, and workshops adapted their schedules to these rhythms, reinforcing a sense of continuity and predictability. Merchants displayed goods in ways that acknowledged the slow, deliberate pace of pedestrian traffic. Shopkeepers moved quietly behind counters, their motions measured to align with the ebb of human movement through the streets. Each bell from the factory, each ripple along the river, each soft footstep or rustle of fabric became part of a broader, almost imperceptible pattern of time and place, subtly guiding attention and shaping awareness. Social interactions within these towns were governed by understated cues and rhythms. People communicated in whispers, gestures, and subtle body language, maintaining order and decorum without the need for overt instruction. Children observed carefully, learning to anticipate patterns, adjust motions, and recognize the gentle interplay of social and mechanical rhythms. Even in play, the repetition of small movements, the careful negotiation of space, and the quiet observation of others mirrored the larger patterns of labor and community. Motion, attention, subtle synchronization again and again, creating a meditative awareness of both self and environment. The sensory environment reinforced these patterns. Faint warmth from late afternoon sunlight lingering on brick walls. The soft coolness of shaded alleyways. The faint scents of coal, cotton, oil, and river water all combined to create a richly textured but gentle setting. Dust motes floated lazily through beams of light, and the low hum of distant machinery provided a soothing, constant background. Each sensory element anchored attention without demanding it, drawing the mind into a gentle, immersive awareness. A quiet observation of rhythm, pattern, and continuity, even as night approached. The pulse of the town and its factories continued to resonate. Lanterns cast pools of warm light that shifted gently with movement. Wheels and belts slowed, but did not fully cease, and the distant murmur of human activity persisted in a softened, calming cadence. You can imagine walking quietly along the streets, feeling the vibrations beneath your feet, noticing the subtle gestures of those around you, hearing the faint rustle of fabric, and sensing the continuity of life unfolding in small, persistent patterns. Motion, rhythm, observation again and again, carrying the mind into calm reflection and gentle awareness. The hidden rhythms and rituals of these towns illustrate a delicate balance between industry and culture, labor and observation, repetition and reflection. Each action, each gesture, each movement is absorbed into a broader pattern, reinforcing continuity, endurance, and subtle mindfulness. The pulse of the factories, the careful choreography of children and adults, and the immersive rhythms of social and domestic life coalesce into an environment of gentle, meditative awareness. Motion continues, thread continues, wheels and belts continue, echoing softly in both body and mind, creating a steady, soothing backdrop to the passage of time and the quiet unfolding of daily life. By the end of the evening, as lantern light fades and shadows deepen, the industrial and social rhythms of the town persist quietly, leaving an enduring sense of pattern, repetition, and subtle meditation. The soft, unbroken pulse of motion, labor, and life continues in memory and perception, guiding the mind toward calm reflection, restful observation, and the gentle immersion that marks the hidden, intricate culture of Victorian factory towns. As the evening deepens over the Victorian industrial landscape, the factory's brick facades are bathed in a dim, fading light, their chimneys releasing faint trails of smoke that drift slowly into the dusk sky. The town outside is muted, the once bustling streets now quieter, but the pulse of industry continues subtly. Inside the large factory halls, a steady hum of machinery persists, the slow rotation of spindles and belts, creating a continuous hypnotic rhythm that extends through every corner of the building. This rhythm, repetitive yet gentle, becomes the backdrop against which countless lives unfold, lives shaped, guided, and quietly transformed by the unseen effects of innovation and organization. The factory systems established by Arkwright introduced a degree of order and efficiency unprecedented in earlier workshops. Each machine, each spindle, each wheel was arranged with deliberate precision, contributing to a seamless, continuous flow of labor. Children and adults alike moved within this system, their motions guided by the subtle insistence of repetition and rhythm. You can imagine walking along the long, narrow aisles, feeling the gentle vibration through the floor, sensing the synchronized pulse of countless hands adjusting threads, guiding shuttles, and monitoring belts. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again. A continuous meditation on process and endurance. quietly shaping both body and mind. In these factory halls, the unseen effects of such organization extended beyond productivity. Children developed a profound awareness of sequence and pattern, their attention honed by the gentle insistence of repetitive tasks. Each action, each adjustment, each careful motion reinforced a subtle understanding of timing, coordination, and observation. Adults, too, experienced a similar immersion, their bodies synchronized with the cadence of machinery, their minds gradually attuning to the persistent rhythm that defined the factory day. Even minor disruptions, a thread caught, a wheel hesitating, were corrected calmly, becoming part of the ongoing meditation rather than a jarring interruption. The spatial organization of factories also shaped social awareness. Supervisors and experienced workers moved quietly along the rows, observing and subtly guiding without overtly disturbing the flow. You might notice the nuanced gestures of instruction, a small adjustment here, a whispered word there, blending seamlessly into the rhythm of the hall. Children watched, absorbing not only technical skill but the silent choreography of observation, patience, and subtle adaptation. Every gesture became a part of the immersive learning environment, reinforcing endurance, attention, and quiet reflection beyond the immediate factory walls. The innovations of this system quietly influenced the town. Streets, markets, and homes aligned subtly with the rhythm of labor. Morning shifts dictated movement patterns. Midday breaks created pockets of stillness, and evening closures orchestrated the gradual return to domestic life. The sensory landscape was rich, yet subdued. Faint sunlight on brick, the soft rustle of fabric, the whisper of river currents, and the low hum of distant machinery, all blending to create a gentle, immersive experience. Motion and pattern, both mechanical and human, shaped perception and subtly guided behavior, embedding a sense of rhythm into everyday consciousness. Even leisure, when it occurred, bore traces of these rhythms. Children's games, modest social gatherings, and quiet family moments reflected the repetition and synchronization observed throughout the day. You can picture a small courtyard where children move in patterned play, their gestures echoing the measured motions learned at work. Parents, seated quietly, observe, guiding subtly or joining with slow, deliberate movements. Conversation is soft and deliberate, mirroring the careful attention practiced during hours at the machines. Motion, attention, observation, again and again. The patterns of labor and life intertwining gently, creating continuity and reflection. The unseen effects extended into physical space as well. Buildings, alleys, and workrooms were arranged for efficiency and flow, allowing human motion to follow a predictable path. Light entered windows at specific angles, illuminating areas of activity and rest in a slow, deliberate cycle. Shadows stretched and shifted, marking the passage of time while enhancing the immersive rhythm of daily existence. Even the faint scent of oil, cotton, and warm timber carried subtly, reinforcing sensory continuity and grounding attention in a calm, reflective awareness. Industrial innovations also had psychological effects, though subtle and often unnoticed. Repetition instilled endurance, focus, and patience, while the continuous rhythm of labor encouraged reflective, meditative states of mind. You can imagine moving through a hall, the gentle vibration beneath your feet, the low hum of machinery, the soft glint of metal and wood, and feeling the mind quietly attuned to a slow, persistent cadence. The body and mind gradually synchronize, entering a state of calm immersion that continues even beyond the factory floor. As night fully descends, the pulse of activity slows but does not cease. Wheels turn gently, spindles rotate at a reduced pace, and the faint echo of motion lingers throughout the halls. Outside, the town settles into the soft quiet of evening. Lanterns casting gentle pools of light, shadows dancing lightly along walls, and the river reflecting the subtle glow of fading sky. Every motion, every sound, every sensory detail reinforces continuity, pattern, and rhythm, guiding the mind into gentle reflection. Even the smallest unnoticed gestures carry weight. A hand brushing dust from a spindle, the soft adjustment of tension in a thread, the measured step along a wooden floor contribute to the immersive, hypnotic flow. Motion, thread, wheels, belts, again and again, echoing softly in both mind and body, creating a sense of order, patience, and subtle meditation. The innovations of the factory, often hidden behind walls of brick and steam, quietly shaped human experience, embedding a slow, gentle rhythm into consciousness. By the end of the night, when lanterns dim and the last wheels settle, the effects of the day remain. Bodies accustomed to repetition, minds attuned to sequence, and communities aligned with the subtle pulse of labor. The quiet innovations of Arkwright's factories, their rhythms, structures, and patterns, have left an indelible imprint, creating an immersive environment where motion, observation, and reflection blend seamlessly, carrying both worker and observer into a calm, gentle awareness of process and continuity. As the pale, gentle light of early morning spills through the tall, carefully cleaned windows of a Victorian industrialist's townhouse, the quiet contrast between this refined domestic world and the unrelenting, tireless environment of the factories becomes immediately apparent. Sunlight spreads slowly across polished wooden floors, glimmering against intricately patterned rugs and reflecting the carved details of high moldings and ornate ceiling decorations. The scent of freshly polished wood mingles subtly with the gentle aroma of fine linens and faint floral fragrances, creating a calm, immersive environment in which each sound, movement, and texture contributes to a soothing rhythm. The household itself is arranged with deliberate care. Books are perfectly aligned on shelves. Vases catch the early sun with sparkling reflections, and furniture is placed to guide movement smoothly and comfortably. In this space, motion is unhurried, deliberate, and quietly elegant, a measured rhythm that contrasts sharply with the ceaseless mechanical pulse of the factories just streets away. Servants begin their duties in quiet synchronization, moving softly along hallways and staircases. They light the fires in fireplaces, draw back heavy drapes to allow the light to enter gently, and polish surfaces with meticulous attention. The soft clink of china, the gentle pour of tea, and the aroma of warm bread and brewing beverages combine to form a rich, soothing sensory environment. You can imagine a child stepping lightly across the gleaming floor, observing the careful choreography of motion and attention around them, gradually learning the patterns of calm, refined domestic life. Every gesture, every measured step, every soft sound contributes to a meditative rhythm that slowly draws the mind into focus and reflection. Breakfast unfolds with deliberate care. Each plate is arranged precisely, each utensil aligned, every movement part of a larger, unhurried cadence. Conversation is calm and reflective, flowing at a pace that encourages observation and gentle engagement. Parents guide children through small lessons of etiquette, the careful handling of cutlery, the measured pour of tea, and the rhythm of polite speech. fostering attention, patience, and a quiet awareness of social nuances. The soft warmth of the room, the gentle creak of floorboards beneath careful footsteps, and the faint fragrance of tea and baked goods all combine to create a subtle, immersive atmosphere, encouraging a meditative attentiveness to motion and sensation. Throughout the rooms, textures, light, and scent work in harmony. Upholstered chairs invite slow, deliberate seating. Polished wooden surfaces reflect the soft morning light. Books and papers are organized with care, creating visual and mental order. The scent of leather-bound volumes, fresh flowers, and polished surfaces subtly anchors attention, while the faint sound of distant traffic or the occasional chirp of a bird outside enhances rather than disrupts the calm. Motion, observation, sound, and scent combine to create an ongoing rhythm that envelops anyone present in a gentle, immersive awareness of space, structure, and continuity. As the morning matures into the late hours, adults in the household begin their work. Ledgers are reviewed with careful, deliberate fingers. Correspondence is attended to with patience and precision. Thoughts and reflections unfold slowly across the page. The quiet ticking of clocks, the soft rustle of papers, and the gentle murmur of voices contribute to a meditative, immersive rhythm that encourages focus, reflection, and calm awareness. Every movement, repeated with intention, reinforces the subtle cadence of domestic life, an ongoing pattern that mirrors the cyclical, repetitive nature of the factory, yet unfolds within comfort and tranquility rather than exhaustion. Meals and social interactions throughout the day maintain this measured tone. Dinner, tea, or informal gatherings are conducted with subdued conversation and gentle, controlled gestures. Children learn to observe the subtleties of social interaction, from pauses in speech to refined posture and quiet gestures, absorbing lessons in patience, awareness, and subtle influence. The entire household functions as a living meditation on rhythm, repetition, and the careful orchestration of motion, conversation, and observation, fostering a sense of calm continuity throughout the day. The outdoor spaces of the estate extend these rhythms. Gardens are trimmed with careful symmetry, paths laid with precision, and fountains maintained to produce a steady, gentle murmur of water. Trees, flowers, and small birds contribute sensory cues that blend naturally with the ordered human movements, creating a layered, immersive environment. Walking along these paths, one notices the subtle interplay of light and shadow, the textures underfoot, and the gentle fragrances in the air, all encouraging slow, deliberate observation and mindful attention. Household staff continues to execute their duties with unobtrusive precision. Floors are swept, surfaces polished, meals prepared and served, all in gentle repetition. The rhythm of these actions mirrors the daily patterns of the factory, though here the pace is calm, restorative, and measured. Motion, attention, observation, and subtle awareness repeat continuously, creating an immersive environment in which comfort, control, and reflection intertwine seamlessly. Social obligations extend this measured rhythm outward into the community. Salons, town gatherings, and visits are conducted with poise and quiet grace. Gestures are synchronized, conversation flows slowly and thoughtfully, and silence is used deliberately, allowing reflection between interactions. Young observers internalize these patterns, learning the subtle arts of patience, decorum, and awareness. The rhythms of social life reflect the same attention to detail, continuity, and calm immersion that define the household itself. As evening deepens, the household gradually transitions to rest. Lamps and candles cast soft, flickering light across polished surfaces, walls, and furniture. Conversations fade into quiet contemplation. The soft turning of pages, gentle scratching of pens, and the occasional quiet footsteps of servants maintaining order blend into a gentle, continuous rhythm. Children read, adults write or reflect, and the calm choreography of the household persists, enveloping the space in a soothing, immersive atmosphere. By nightfall, the Victorian industrialist's home has achieved a profound state of calm. The subtle interplay of warm light, soft textures, measured movement, and gentle sound creates an environment of restorative tranquility. Here, away from the relentless mechanical pulse of factories, life follows slow, deliberate patterns that cultivate reflection, attentive awareness, and quiet endurance. Every gesture, movement, and sensory experience contributes to an ongoing rhythm of calm, comfort, and subtle social harmony, providing a gentle, immersive environment that will carry quietly into the night and into sleep, leaving both mind and body in a state of relaxed attentiveness and serenity. In the calm light of mid-morning, the daily routines of a factory owner's family unfold with a quiet, deliberate elegance. Imagine the soft, filtered sunlight passing through tall windows, glimmering on polished wood surfaces, delicate fabrics, and the carefully arranged objects that fill each room. Every item, from the lined bookshelves to the porcelain ornaments, seems chosen for both beauty and order, creating an environment that gently encourages calm observation and slow, deliberate attention. The household is alive, yet tranquil, a place where movement, sound, and scent combine into a subtle rhythm that guides the senses softly. The family awakens gradually, each member moving at their own measured pace. Parents rise, the soft rustle of clothing and the gentle creak of floorboards barely audible, and proceed with their morning rituals. They attend to personal grooming with meticulous care, the smooth touch of fabrics, the subtle scent of soaps and powders, and the reflective surfaces of mirrors contributing to a calm, immersive awareness. Children follow with deliberate steps, observing their elders, learning the rhythms of the household, and absorbing lessons in etiquette, poise, and mindfulness. Each movement, each gesture, each subtle sound contributes to an unhurried cadence that gently encourages focus, attentiveness, and a quiet, reflective awareness. Breakfast is a carefully orchestrated affair, served with precision in a room suffused with natural light. Plates are arranged in exact alignment, cups positioned with care, and the soft aroma of bread, tea, and freshly prepared eggs blends with the faint warmth of sunlight, creating a sensory environment that is both rich and soothing. Conversation is calm and reflective, flowing at a pace that allows thought to wander gently from topic to topic, providing subtle instruction, observation, and reflection. Children are guided through the details of polite speech, table manners, and the soft cues of interaction, while adults engage in deliberate, measured conversation that reinforces the household's rhythm of tranquility and attentive observation. Throughout the house, the textures, colors, and arrangement of objects enhance the immersive rhythm of daily life. Soft upholstery invites slow, deliberate seating. Polished wood glows warmly in sunlight. Lace curtains filter light into gentle, diffused patterns that move subtly with the morning breeze. The faint scent of leather, flowers, and polished surfaces anchors attention, while the quiet movement of staff, The occasional rustle of paper and the subdued creak of furniture create a continuous auditory backdrop, reinforcing a gentle, immersive pattern of calm. Motion, observation, sound, and scent all blend seamlessly into a rhythm that encourages mindfulness and reflection. As the morning progresses, parents often retreat to studies or parlors for quiet work. Ledgers are reviewed, letters written, and plans considered with deliberate attention. The faint scratching of pen on paper, the rustle of parchment, and the soft ticking of a clock punctuate the serene environment. Children may be guided through lessons in reading, writing, or arithmetic. The cadence of instruction, slow and measured, reinforcing both attention and patience. Motion and sound intertwine, creating a continuous sensory experience that nurtures focus and reflection, allowing the household to function as a cohesive, immersive environment throughout the day. Social interactions and leisure activities maintain this measured pace. Gentle walks through the garden, supervised reading, or quiet conversation in the drawing room are conducted with deliberate grace. Paths are carefully maintained, hedges trimmed with symmetry, and fountains release soft, continuous streams of water, creating a calm auditory rhythm. Birds move quietly among trees, their soft calls blending with the gentle rustle of leaves, providing subtle cues that anchor awareness in both movement and stillness. Each activity, whether domestic or social, is performed with care, reinforcing the immersive rhythm and gentle sensory continuity of the household. Meals beyond breakfast follow similar patterns of deliberate care. Lunch and tea are served with precision, conversation flows slowly, gestures remain controlled, and children learn to observe, imitate, and participate in subtle social cues. The interplay of light, texture, sound, and movement creates a consistent rhythm that fosters reflection, patience, and attentive awareness. Even casual exchanges in these spaces are imbued with a deliberate calm, teaching children to observe without haste and to move through life with awareness and subtle coordination. Staff movements throughout the day contribute to the immersive atmosphere. Servants carry out their duties with quiet precision, preparing meals, polishing surfaces, managing fires, and attending to personal needs. Every action is repeated with deliberate care, forming a continuous, subtle rhythm of order and attentiveness. While the physical labor of the factory is relentless, the household mirrors its own patterns of structure, repetition, and meticulous attention. Though performed in an environment of comfort, safety, and calm, motion, observation, and sensory attention flow seamlessly together, reinforcing a quiet immersion in the household's rhythm. Social visits, charitable obligations, and family appointments extend these rhythms outward. Visits to neighbors, salons, or cultural gatherings are conducted with deliberate poise. Movements are synchronized, speech flows thoughtfully, and silences are as meaningful as words. Observing these interactions, children absorb subtle lessons in timing, patience, and social awareness, learning to navigate complex social networks with calm observation. The same principles of order, rhythm, and attentive observation that govern domestic life apply seamlessly to public interactions, reinforcing continuity and immersive calm. As evening approaches, the household gradually slows into rest. Lamps and candles cast warm, flickering light across polished surfaces, the soft illumination blending with fading daylight. Conversations diminish, replaced by quiet activities, reading, reflection, letter writing, or soft study. The gentle footfalls of servants attending to final tasks contribute to a continuous, soothing rhythm. Every motion, sound, and light source is part of an immersive, calming pattern that eases the body and mind into the tranquil pace of night by nightfall. The household has achieved a state of restorative calm. The interplay of soft light, measured motion, gentle sounds, and subtle scents creates an environment that encourages reflection, attentive awareness, and quiet endurance. Removed from the relentless pulse of factories, the family inhabits a deliberate, measured world where every gesture, movement, and sensory cue contributes to an ongoing, immersive rhythm of comfort, order, and tranquility, carrying the mind gently into the quiet of night and the anticipation of sleep, ensuring a smooth transition from wakefulness to gentle rest. As the late afternoon sun drifts gently toward the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over the cobblestone streets and the ornate facades of Victorian townhouses, the rhythm of life within these homes continues in a deliberate, measured cadence. Here, every movement, every gesture, and every sound is part of an intricate, harmonious pattern, carefully designed to provide comfort, order, and refinement. Unlike the relentless, mechanical pulse of factory life elsewhere in the city, the daily existence of the elite is defined by subtlety, attentiveness, and an immersive calm that envelops all senses. Imagine stepping into a grand drawing room, its walls lined with gilded frames, embroidered tapestries, and paintings selected not only for beauty but also for their sense of permanence, history, and cultural significance. Furniture is arranged with meticulous attention to detail, creating visual pathways that guide the eye gently across the space, while plush rugs absorb the soft footsteps of residents and guests, contributing to a quiet, deliberate rhythm that permeates every corner of the room. The delicate scent of fresh flowers mingles with polished wood and the faint aroma of steeped tea, creating a layered sensory environment designed to soothe, engage, and immerse all who enter. Movement within the household is deliberate, graceful, and intentional. Family members and invited guests navigate the space with poise, each step and gesture executed with a natural elegance that has been cultivated through observation and practice. Conversation flows at a gentle, reflective pace, punctuated by the soft clink of porcelain, the subtle rustle of silk or wool garments, and the occasional murmur of attentive observation. Music frequently accompanies these interactions. Soft piano notes, the gentle strum of a harp, or the sustained hum of a string quartet enrich the auditory landscape without demanding attention, blending seamlessly with ambient sounds to reinforce calm, focused immersion. Even the most ordinary actions, pouring tea, arranging a tray of delicate refreshments, adjusting cushions, or seating become meditative exercises, contributing to the continuous, layered rhythm that defines the household experience. Children in the household absorb these nuances quietly, learning to internalize the subtleties of posture, gesture, and refined social interaction. Through repeated exposure, they acquire lessons in patience, attentiveness, and the understated exercise of influence and presence. Their senses are guided toward textures, scents, and visual details, the softness of upholstered chairs beneath their fingers, the warmth and smoothness of polished wood, the interplay of light and shadow across gilded frames, and the lingering fragrance of roses, lilacs, or orange blossoms placed thoughtfully throughout the rooms. Each element, each sensory input, functions as a subtle instructor, cultivating mindfulness, observation, and a reflective, immersive awareness of the household's rhythm. The gardens, terraces, and courtyards further extend this deliberate cadence into the outdoor environment. Flower beds are arranged with precise symmetry, hedges are sculpted with care, and fountains release water in gentle, continuous streams. Sunlight filters through leafy branches, forming dynamic patterns of light and shadow across paths, lawns, and stonework. Birds flit among the foliage, leaves rustle softly in the breeze, and the occasional distant chime of a fountain adds a delicate auditory layer. Stone pathways encourage deliberate, unhurried movement, guiding children and adults alike as they navigate this cultivated space. The gardens serve both as areas for leisure and as immersive sensory classrooms, where observation, patience, and reflection are encouraged naturally through interaction with nature and carefully planned architecture. Every step, every sight, and every subtle sound contributes to an ongoing rhythm, reinforcing calm, awareness, and contemplative engagement. Meals, afternoon tea, and light refreshments follow the same refined, measured patterns. Sandwiches, pastries, and teas are served with exacting attention to presentation, while conversation remains subdued, reflective, and attentive. Gestures are purposeful, movements deliberate, and every act, from lifting a cup to arranging a plate, reinforces the household's immersive rhythm. Adults model these behaviors consistently, allowing children to internalize decorum, patience, and the meditative qualities of repetition and deliberate attention. Even these simple, daily routines are transformed into layered exercises of focus, observation, and sensory engagement, each contributing to the overarching cadence of refined life. The household staff moves with quiet precision, performing their duties unobtrusively, but with essential attention to detail, polishing furniture, arranging flowers, replenishing refreshments, adjusting lighting, and attending to subtle maintenance, all form a gentle, repetitive choreography that supports the immersive, meditative environment. Unlike the intense labor on the factory floors, this repetition is restorative and elegant, reinforcing a sense of order, stability, and continuous attentiveness. Motion, light, sound, and scent interact seamlessly to create an environment in which every inhabitant, from children to adults, participates in the household's continuous rhythm, whether consciously or unconsciously. As evening deepens, the pace slows even further. Lamps and candles are lit, casting warm, flickering light across rooms and hallways. Shadows lengthen, mixing with the soft ambient sounds of gentle conversation, pages turning, or distant music. Children retreat to reading, quiet play, or reflective study, guided by adults whose presence is calm, deliberate, and quietly attentive. Every gesture, sound, and sensory detail, whether the faint fragrance of polished wood, the warmth of a sunlit corner, or the smooth texture of upholstery, participates in a complex, layered orchestration that encourages mindfulness, reflection, and relaxation. By nightfall, the household has achieved full tranquility. Light, sound, motion, scent, and subtle tactile experiences converge into a continuous, immersive rhythm of restorative calm. Far removed from the relentless industrial world, every aspect of life, from decor and gesture to music, conversation, and movement, contributes to a deliberate, continuous pattern of presence, observation, and reflective awareness. The rhythm of the household guides all inhabitants smoothly from wakefulness into a gentle, restorative night. Mind and body are enveloped in calm, focus, and immersive serenity, preparing both for the restorative embrace of sleep. Each element, each sensory cue, each carefully orchestrated motion reinforces the underlying harmony of the household, leaving body and mind relaxed, attentive, and ready for rest. The Victorian elite inhabit a world in which subtlety, order, and contemplative awareness sustain every moment. And as the household finally quiets for the night, the immersive, layered rhythm remains, gently carrying all into peaceful, restorative slumber. As the evening deepens and the last traces of sunlight fade from the sky, imagine yourself gently stepping back from the lives we have explored today, leaving behind the bustling factories, the tireless hands of workers, the intricate rhythms of families and households, and the refined routines of the Victorian elite. The city itself begins to exhale. Streets once filled with the soft echo of footsteps and distant chatter now grow quiet as lamps flicker to life, casting pools of warm, comforting light onto cobblestones and doorways. The gentle sounds of life fade into a soft background hum, and the air carries the subtle fragrances of polished wood, fresh flowers, and evening dew, inviting your senses to rest and your mind to soften throughout our journey. You have walked through crowded factory floors where the relentless pulse of industry shaped every movement, every breath, and every fleeting moment. You have felt the weight of long hours, the texture of worn wood under calloused hands, and the heat of furnaces, all experienced through the quiet lens of mindful observation. You have seen how the children and families of the time adapted, learned, and endured within these rhythms, finding small moments of reprieve amidst the ceaseless demands of labor, the repetitive tasks, the predictable routines, and even the quiet hardships offered a unique insight into daily life, allowing us to understand the resilience and structure that governed existence long ago. You have also observed the lives of the elite, where measured gestures, refined rituals, and layered sensory environments created a world far removed from the factory floors. The slow cadence of conversation, the deliberate care in arranging objects, and the immersive attention to sound, scent, and texture all formed a continuous rhythm that guided both mind and body toward calm reflection. In their gardens, drawing rooms, and elegant halls, every movement and every sensory detail contributed to a harmonious, restorative environment. This contrast reminds us of the diversity of experience within the same society, the push and pull between labor and leisure, endurance and refinement, noise and stillness. Yet, even in this contrast, there is a rhythm, a pattern, a gentle flow that can be observed, appreciated, and internalized. Think now of the factories, the homes, and the streets fading behind you as a soft haze of memory. Allow the images of sunlight glinting off polished surfaces, the scent of flowers mingling with the warmth of wood, and the distant echo of a piano or the gentle splash of a fountain to linger in your awareness. Let these gentle impressions settle like dust motes in a quiet sunbeam, drifting slowly, weightlessly, until they form a comforting, enveloping sense of calm. You do not need to follow the rush of the world outside. You are simply present here, in the continuity of reflection, observation, and gentle attention. The day we have explored may belong to another era, but the rhythms we have witnessed of movement, of pause, of sensory immersion have their echoes in your own world. Consider the simple act of noticing a small detail, the soft rustle of a curtain, the warmth of a chair under your body, the way light filters through a window. In these moments, you can trace the continuity of human experience, the shared capacity for awareness reflection, and quiet endurance. These small attentions, practiced gently and with care, create a bridge from the vividness of historical life to the tranquil stillness of your present moment. You are carrying the patterns of observation and presence into your own awareness, allowing the mind to release tension and the body to settle comfortably into rest. As the evening deepens fully and the world outside your immediate space falls silent, allow yourself to drift with the cadence of the day's journey. Let the rhythmic flow of factories, homes, gardens, and refined halls dissolve into a gentle current of memory and sensation. Each image, sound, and subtle scent becomes a soft guide, encouraging the mind to release thought, the muscles to release tension, and the breath to settle into an unhurried, natural pace. There is no need for movement, for action, or for analysis. Only gentle presence, observation, and the soft unfolding of awareness in time. Let the lives you have witnessed today, their patterns, their rhythms, and their quiet routines, be your companions in this final descent into restful awareness. And now, with a deep, unhurried breath, allow the final sensations of the day to settle fully around you. Feel the comfort of stillness, the gentle reassurance of continuity, and the quiet harmony of presence. The echoes of past lives, both laborious and refined, guide you toward a calm, restorative inner rhythm. Let your eyelids grow heavy, your muscles soften, and your thoughts drift like the gentle smoke of a candle's flame. In this immersive, reflective state, you are ready to surrender to the restorative, gentle embrace of sleep, leaving the day behind, carrying only calm, serenity, and the soft continuity of awareness. Good night.